Hey friend, how's it going? Thomas Decker here from GuitarRevolution.ca, and I am here because I want to help you to become the best guitarist you can ever be, so you can play your guitar with ease, with confidence, expressing all your musical ideas, being able to solo for hours without repeating yourself, and even like reaching to the point of playing a two-handed solo if that's your goal. That's why I'm here. And today, on this video, I'm gonna be talking about how to sound more melodic in your solos using the major scale. We know that the pentatonic scale is a very, very melodic scale, but today we're gonna be talking about the major scale, how to use the major scale in a very, very melodic way. All right? If you don't know, there are two main shapes that we can use when talking about the major scale. Starting on the E string, the root on the sixth string, the E string. Let's say, for example, C major. There's this shape here, and by the way, you can just get this on the PDF. Just by clicking on the link below. You can just download the PDF for this lesson, okay? So, the major scale, very, very traditional and very well-known way to play the major scale. Okay, this is one. The second one is starting here as well, on the 8th fret, or whatever the root is. If it is a different root, if it is D, for example, you go over D. If it is G, go over G. Just stick with C for now. Using 3 notes per string. This is the shape. Which one's better? Which one's gonna sound more melodic? Which one flows better? That's up for you to find out, okay? Today, I'm not gonna be talking about these shapes though. I wanna be talking about how to be more melodic by using the major scale on a horizontal way, to the extreme of only using one string, okay? So we're going to talk about the major scale. There's a formula for the major scale. That is, if you take any given root, any given starting point, and if you apply the distance of step, step, half step, 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 half step, that will give you the major scale of any given key. For example, here, let's get the open E string. Okay, step, step, half, step, 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 half. Step, step, half, step, 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 half. Okay, sounds good? Let's do that on the A string. Step, step, half, step, 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 half. Now let me play the shape. Same sound, right? So that's what you're gonna be using. We're gonna improvise and try to create some melodies here, some musical ideas over a backing track that on the key of D. Okay, so the backing track is gonna be D, then A, B minor, and G. And I'm gonna start using that formula over the D string here. And gradually, I'm gonna be using that formula, but in like more random ways. In a way that I'm not gonna be just doing step, step, half, step, 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 half. I'm gonna use these notes, and from 12th fret and up, just repeat, right? So step, step, half, step, step, and then I don't have more frets. But I'm gonna be using that for us to come with some improvisation, some melodies. That will force you, especially if you already know the shapes, will force you to break out from that like pattern of shapes that you're so used to using. Okay, and that's the main idea. You don't want to be like stuck in a shape, but you want to be flowing from one note to the next, and trying to make your guitar sound like a lead singer or a voice per se, instead of playing like. Now we're gonna be doing. Okay, I'm gonna be using a lot of sliding technique. A lot of legatos. With a slide and hammer on, pull offs. So that gives a lot of articulation as well for our notes. Okay, let's do that. And after that, I'm gonna be doing the same idea on different strings, starting from the D, applying that step, 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 or step, step, half, step, 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 half. Okay? Here we go. Here's our backing track. Now the scale. And I can go backwards, right? If I start here, I can go back. Anyways, let's start here. Sounds pretty cool, right? All right, right now we're gonna do the same idea over the G string. Okay, so G, the note D on G will be on the 7th fret. So from here we have step, step, half, step, 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 half. Right? Or if you go backwards, have half, step, step, and step. Ending on the open string. Let's do it. Back in track. Again, lots of legato, lots of skipping notes, right? You don't need to sit on that sequence. And always, like, once you get familiar with where the notation or where the notes are, just explore them in a different ways, right? There we go. Let's do it. Can you see how different it is when you play like that? You're gonna see when you are in practice. By the way, just go again, download that PDF, that tab. I'm gonna have there for you the scale, the D major scale on the first, the shape that I showed you, the second shape, 3 notes per string, and on each string, okay, where the D major scale is. So once you get them, you're gonna see how interesting it is to create the melodies out of the patterns that you're so used to be like stuck with. Now let's use a lower string. I'm gonna use the lower E. I was going to do A. E is harder. That's why I'm like, ugh, let's do E. And the E or D string or D note is on the 10th. So that gives me pretty much half of the fretboard up, as many notes I have down. So from here, step, step, half, step, 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 half, whole scale. Now if I go down, I have here half, step, 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 half, step, and you need a lower D, right, to sound like, oh yeah, the root, right? Okay, let's do it. Here's the backing track. It's a little tricky here, but it's gonna work. Let's go down. It's a little harder to make it sound. It's a little harder. Still works. It still works, right? Sounds good. Another thing that I always try to do here when I'm soloing or like improvising like I'm now, you probably noticed that I'm trying to target the chord tones, the notes that belong to the chords in that the backing track. So for example, when it's hitting D, I'm over D, A, and F sharp. I'm always like transitioning, make some phrases and ending on one of those 3 notes. When it's A is A, E, and C sharp. B minor, it's B minor, F sharp, and D. So and they sound good because it's part of that chord, right? And G is G, D, and B. So here, and then I transition between those notes. All right, now it's with you. Download the PDF, the tablet I have for you, and take your time. Don't rush through this. Don't try to play fast. Don't try to sound amazing. Try to play the right notes. Try to take your time and be creative with that. You can start mixing some strings too. It's fine. You don't need to like just stay with one. You can go with two, and then like just go like E and A, then A and D, D and G, G and B, B and E again. It's very, very interesting. When you limit yourself from all the options you have, that forces you to come with more creative ways to express your musicality. And that's a very golden nugget about soloing, improvising, limiting yourself. Give yourself a little bit to work with, and then give yourself a little bit more. Man, that's gold. If you're like consciously, intentionally playing guitar and doing this, you can improvise for a very long time, and you're not going to repeat yourself, and you're always going to be hooking your listener to listen to what you have to say with your guitar, because it's always interesting. It's always something new. But if you throw all at once, you have nothing else to offer. Sounds good? Again, download the PDF, study those scales, the shapes, one on each string. Find a backing track that you like on D, because this lesson's on D. You can do it in any other key. It's a good exercise. I just happen to have this nice backing track here. Sounds good? And yeah, that's it, man. If you really like this lesson, if this is helpful, if this is like something that it's helping you to move forward on your journey as a guitarist, please leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what else I can help you, how else I can what else I can teach you here on this lesson, on this channel. What else you're like struggling with, so I can try to get you to the next level. All right, see you in the next lesson.